Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshiyos Mattos-Massei from Revii to Chamishi. We'll try to share Dvar Torah on each of these two Parshiyos. So in Parshiyos Matos, so in Revii we have the discussion of the spoils from the war of revenge that we took against the Midianites who had created the loss of 24,000 Jews because of the immorality that they seduced them with. So there's an announcement here about the division of the spoils. Half the spoils went to those who actually went to battle, and the other half of the spoils was divided amongst those who stayed at home that might have wanted to go to battle, but were not qualified to go. So they still got their portion, but each one they gave a meches, a tax. The first from the warriors, they gave a tax of 1/500th of their portion to Elazar HaKohen, and the rest of the Bnei Israel gave 1/50th of what they got, about 2% then, and that went to the Leviim. Now there are some differences in how the Pasuk explains it. It says, "Varemosa mechas laHashem" in Perik Pasuk Chav Hey in Perik Lamed Aleph, Anshe Lachama. Those there'll be a remosa, kind of like a word truma, from those who went to battle, and from the min ha'adam, min ha'bakar, min ha'chamor, min ha'tzon, from the people, which was basically the women who were not mizana, the cattle, the donkeys, and the tzon, the sheep. And so again, use the language of Nasata L'Elazar Kohen Trumas Hashem, a truma to Hashem. And then by the other portion, it mentions min ha'bakar, min ha'chamor, min ha'tzon, min ha'mikol behema. It was from all the Behemos. It was also included. It wasn't just the four that were listed for the warriors when it came to the rest of the population. And so the question is, why is Behema listed by one and not the other? And another question that we'll ask is, it also enumerates the full amount of how much was given from the warriors, and but it doesn't give a breakdown of what was given for the rest of the Bnei Yisrael. So the answer is given that because the first one was going as a truma to the Kohen, it was only items that would be valuable to the Kohen for the service, and it wouldn't be these other behemoths, which would include donkeys, elephants, dogs. So therefore, that wasn't given to the Kohen. But for the rest of Bnei Israel, they were giving to Leviim. They were able to give also from these other items, but they didn't give as much, as generously as they did for these more kosher items, shall we say. They gave a lesser amount. So therefore, by the first one, by the warriors, they gave an exact specific amount as was required. But since there was two different amounts by the general population, they did not break down the full enumeration because they weren't consistent. If we go to Parshiyos Massei, so that is Perik Lamed Daled Pasuk Tes Zayin. So we talk about the division of the land, that they made a lottery to all the different shvatim, and the first three are Yehuda and Binyomin and Shmuel and Shimon and Binyomin. And by the first three, so it says Nasi mimateh, that each one they got the Nasi from each tribe. But be'elashmos hanashin l'mateh Yehuda kalei ben Yefuneh does not say Nasi, and l'mateh Bnei Shimon says Shmuel ben Mihud. Also, it does not use the word Nasi. Mateh Binyomin Elidad ben Kislon, and it doesn't say Nasi. And Elidad, that some say, is Eldad, as in Eldad and Meidad, who was Misnabe in the Machana previously. And then it says the Matei Dan Nasi Buki ben Yagli. So it does say call him a Nasi by title, and it continues to do so with the mating tribes. So why is it that it doesn't have it doesn't say Nasi by the first three? So for this, each one has a reason. For Yehuda, it was Kalei ben Yefuneh, and he was well known. So they didn't have to give his title. Everyone knew who he was. You say Kalei ben Yefuneh, everyone knows who we're talking about. The tribe of Shimon, they were being punished. They weren't worthy of having a Nasi. In fact, their Nasi was killed, and therefore it doesn't mention Nasi. And then by Binyamin, it can go either way. One is that Eldad or Elidad, who is Eldad, since he was a Navi, that's a higher level than a Nasi. So to mention him as a Nasi would actually be a come down, and therefore they leave it as the fact that he was a well-known Navi, a prophet. But there's also the Gnai that later on, some say it's because that there was Pelegesh Begiva, and therefore this tribe also was not worthy of having a Nasi. The other distinction we notice is that by two tribes, Yehuda and Binyomin, it does not say Bnei. For example, it says Matei Bnei Shimon, Shmuel ben Amihud. Bnei Yosef, Matei Bnei Mashe, Nasi Chanil ben Ephod. It says Bnei for the title. Why does it not say Bnei by Yehuda and by Binyomin? So one answer that's given is that because all the other ones, they were the new generation that were after the generation that left Egypt. So they were Bnei, they were the sons of lower generation, the later generation. But Kaleb ben Yefuna was the previous generation, Eldad was also the previous generation, and therefore it doesn't mention that them as Bnei because they were the more mature level. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos and a wonderful week.